Hello and welcome to the Latah Valley Fiber Co podcast. My name is Tiffany. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am the dyer and owner behind Latah Valley Fiber Co. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back and joining in on the conversation. If you're new, welcome, and please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. You can find me on Instagram at Latah Valley Fiber Co. You can check out my shop on Etsy, latahvalleyfiberco.etsy.com. And if you'd like to direct message me, lvfiberco@gmail.com. So I have no finished objects today, but I do have lots of works in progress. So I thought we would just talk about that. I also have a question for you. Do the men in your life knit? We'll talk about that and my works in progress on today's episode. All right, today I have a couple works in progress that I'm slogging my way through, and I want to share them with you. Most of these I started the tail end of last year, but I thought I would share those with you first, and then we'll move on to the things I've cast on in January here. The first thing is the Friday tee by Petite Knit. I am using my own hand-dyed yarn for this project, and it's fun. It's color changing. They're stripes, so it's a lot of fun to do, and the pattern is a broken rib pattern, which is nice. It's very fun to do. And so far, I've only screwed it up a couple times. Let's see, this is the back. Okay, this is the front. And I'm almost to the part where I split for sleeves. I have several 8, I think, rounds to go, where I'm only increasing on the front raglan and the back raglan, and no longer the sleeves. So somewhere in here, it's all bunched on my cord. Yeah, it's a little bunchy. I was gonna try it on, but I didn't want to move it to a bigger cord because I'm just about to the point where I'm splitting for sleeves, which then it will all fit on this cord just fine. So I kind of it bunches and I scooch it and knit. So you do the stripe every 7th round, 7th and 8th. And it has this very nice detail on the raglan here. So that's the first time I've done that, and it's fun. I like it a lot. So basically you're knitting and purling. These are the 2 colors I'm using. This is Bella, and this didn't have a name. It was, I think I dyed this up for somebody and they ended up not wanting it. So I just put it in the shop as a one-off or whatever. These are single ply, so there is a little bit of a halo. I noticed in the pattern Petite Knit used like a sock yarn-ish. I don't think it had the nylon, but it was labeled sock, so that would be like 4-ply twisted. Whereas this is just a single ply, and so it has this little bit of a halo. I don't hate that. I think it gives a little bit of a pizzazz to the Friday tee. So I am working my way through this. It is fingering weight, so it's a little slower for me. But I do like fingering weight garments a little bit more than worsted. Maybe not as much as DK, but worsted for sure. Fingering weight, I don't get too hot in. It provides warmth, but not sweaty warmth, where then I have to take it off. And worsted will do that to me. So I'm excited for a tee to see how that works up. I started this on New Year's Eve. It was my New Year's Eve cast on. So I'm getting through it. It's a lot of fun. And I was hoping to have it done in January. I'm not sure, but definitely the first part of February. So still plenty of time to wear it. All right, that is the Friday tee. My next work in progress is the Ebba Pullover by Sari Nordlund. I had reached a point where I needed to check the length of the body. So I took it off of the needles, put a spare yarn in there, and then my beginning around is coming off. I put spare yarn in there so that I could stretch it to what I felt were the measurements that it needed to be to fit my body, and I blocked it. So this is what it looks like, all nicely blocked, and I feel like it's wide enough, and the length is 13 inches. So I'm going to put it back on the needles at the bottom and do the ribbing. I feel like it's long enough. It's 13 inches, so the ribbing will be 14 to 15. And then I can pick up for the sleeves and the neckline. So here it is. Now this yarn is Corriedale. I've talked about this before, and I wasn't sure how it was going to block, if it would bloom a little bit or if it would soften, and it has softened quite a bit actually. So I'm really happy with this yarn. I may consider carrying it in my shop. That's what was a test for that. So it's 100% wool, Corriedale, and I like the fact that it softened because you can wear it near your skin. Now I'll have to try it to see if it's actually the case, but hand-wise it feels a lot softer. So, and it kept the design and shape really nice. So I'm pleased with it, and now I can get moving on. I just took it off the blockers, so I'll pick up here on the hemline and again do the ribbing and then move on to the other things. So this one's almost done, which means I should think about what I'm going to cast on next. Okay, the other two items, they're both I started in January. They're pairs of socks, and the first pair I already have one of the socks done. This is for my husband. This is what it looks like. This is my own hand-dyed yarn, scraps. I have lots of fingering weight scraps because I knit a lot of socks. So what to do with it all? I decided to do this broken seed stitch sock pattern. And I did my normal heel flap and gusset. My cuff was 2 inches. My leg was 2 inches before I started the heel flap and gusset. The heel flap I knit a 1/2 inch longer than most of the patterns say. So instead of 2 inches, I did 2.5. Fits my husband's foot a lot better. And then I have cast on and knit quite well. I've done the heel. So the heel I've picked up for the gusset. And have I started the decreases? I've done 1 decrease. So 9-10 more inches to go. I'm doing these on my DPNs, 2.25 millimeter. And I should have plenty to finish this pair of socks. So he doesn't know it yet, but he's getting just a little packet for Christmas this next year. So I'm starting early on those. This next pair, my friend Corey gifted me a couple of bags the last time I saw her, last week sometime. And I didn't want to take the tag off until I showed you. This little yarn box is what it's called. It's by Good Water & Co. I'll put some information here or down in the description if you're interested. But basically, one skein of yarn fits in there, although I've got my project as well. And then I didn't use this because it had the tag on it. So you can put your yarn through here and it doesn't tangle. It can flop around in the box but doesn't tangle. So shout out to Good Water & Co. I am using my own hand-dyed yarn for this, again in scraps. And I've got the first sock on its way. Dark gray, light gray. I'm doing a 3x1, so knit 3, purl 1 ribbing along the leg and the top of the foot. This is a pair of socks for me. So I cast on 64 stitches. I did an inch rib, and then I knit an inch and a half for the leg. I want these to sit above my shoes but not go further on my leg, so ankle socks. I did a heel flap and gusset, and I'm almost to the finishing the gusset decreases here, as you can see. And then I'll just knit the sock. I'm about a 8.5, 9 foot. So I will check this about 6.5 inches before starting my toe decreases. Yeah. So that is another pair of socks. I will probably try to do 2 socks, one male and one female per month. So I have a little bit of work on those. I do socks while I'm homeschooling because I can sit and help my son, as well as just mindlessly knit. Whereas when I'm doing like the Ebba pullover, it's a little, I have to read the pattern and watch the chart and make sure that I'm not messing up. So, yes, that's where that's at. Okay, that is it for works in progress. I do have a scarf I'm working on, but I haven't knit on it since the last episode 2 weeks ago, so I'm not going to show that to you until I've maybe finished it. Okay, if you stuck around for the question, do men in your life knit? And I can answer yes to that question. My husband in college needed a hat, and he decided to learn how to knit, and he did that. He knit a hat for himself, and he's knit several things since then. He's even knit a pair of socks, he's knit on a blanket, and he's knit several hats. So last year his friend showed some interest, and so they had a weekend where my husband taught his friend Luke how to knit. And I have Luke's first finished object, this hat. I did not instruct them at all. John led the way. He helped him out. I feel like he did an amazing job on this hat. In fact, he tried to point out flaws to me, Luke, but I was like, oh, that's nothing, you know. So the only thing with this hat, he said, is it's too big. This is worsted weight, and his gauge was either loose or he cast on too many stitches. You know how it is. So he asked me if I would shrink it. And so I put it in the, I wet it and then put it in the dryer and dried it on low heat, checking it every 10 minutes. And that didn't do anything. So I turned up the heat, added a little towel in there to agitate it a little bit. It still didn't shrink. So this is superwash. And I've never actually put superwash in the dryer because the common knowledge is do not put wool in the dryer, it will shrink. This superwash hat did not shrink at all. It didn't felt, nothing. So I took it back to him and I said, okay, this is the issue. This is the issue. It's not shrinking. Here's the solution. I can put in a band around that would match your head size, and I can tack down the ribbing so that, you know, it doesn't show. And he said, oh, yeah, that'd be fine. So that's my solution for this. However, I think for his first project, he did a great job. The stitches are really even. They're not, he didn't do any yarn overs. There's no holes in here. His decreases are beautiful. So, yes, men can knit and they do amazing work. So, the men in my life do knit. My husband knits. He hasn't picked up any projects recently, but he can, at the drop of a hat, no pun intended, at any time pick up and knit a hat or socks or a blanket. So, yeah, it used to be fun. A couple winters ago, we sat around in the evening time and knit and chatted, and it was a really sweet time. And I kind of miss it, actually. So, let me know down below if the men in your life knit. And, yeah, we can have a discussion about it. All right, that's all I have to share with you today. Check back in another couple of weeks, and I'll have some finished objects to share with you. So, until then, happy knitting.